Hello and good morning. So I'm also always excited when it's weekend, especially Saturday. A warm welcome to your national television station for your weekend edition of the AM show, Breaking Life, to bring you the picture of a new day. It's an early morning show that sets your day in motion with the very best of entertainment, current affairs and sports with some exciting interviews. Now here today is me, Aissatou Keita. Now here's a look at what's coming up this morning. Gambia's top chef Sekou Sankabojang makes it to the best 10 country recipes out of 167 countries, and among France's 100 chef recipes booked in the 2020 Best of Gastronomy. What does it mean for a chef to be in the best top 10 country recipes? Celebrated chef Sekou Bojang has all the answers right here on the AM show. Now, joining forces to tackle gender-based violence through targeted capacity building, Gambia Police Force wraps up an intensive gender training inspired by high rates of GBV calls received during the COVID-19 lockdown, which mostly left women in unprotected domestic spaces. In showbiz, a change in scope of cultural songs, Sabali Leadership Academy Cultural Choir premiered their second video from the debut album, Tantamari. We will speak to some members of the SLA choir, cultural choir, and bring you much more on the special weekend edition of the AM show right here on your national television station, GRTS. Do stay tuned. A warm welcome to the AM show. Now let's begin the new day with a look at Mother Nature and also the weather report, courtesy of the Central Forecast Office. The weather outlook for today, Saturday, 21st November 2020, will be fairly cool, is expected in the morning, becoming warm in the afternoon with slight haze persisting during the period. Now winds will vary between north and southerly across the country with a speed ranging from 09 to 27 km per hour. Now the temperatures, the lowest minimum value is expected to be 19 degrees Celsius over Central River region, whereas maximum value is expected to reach 37 degrees Celsius over the Upper River region. The sun is expected to rise over Upper River region at 6:58 a.m. and over the Greater Banjul area at 7:08 a.m. and will set at 6:23 p.m. and 6:33 p.m. over the Upper River region and Greater Banjul area respectively. For Sunday, 22nd November 2020, the weather will be fairly cool as expected in the morning, becoming warm and slightly hazy conditions during the period. Now from the weather update, we head straight to the table because breakfast is ready and there's nothing like a great meal to start the day. Besides its nourishing qualities, food builds and shapes our spirit. Enjoy this quick fix breakfast with our very own house chef, Bojang.
Hello and good morning. Welcome again to our Meals in 10 breakfast segment on GRTS only. So today I'm going to present to you one breakfast episode which is going to consist of Gambian ground soup. Of course, we know fish is becoming expensive in our country, but hey, fish in a tin is also equally as good as fish from the sea. So here we got what we have here is the sardine from a tin. Of course, I'm going to have the cucumber, which is here, already washed, ready for me to use. And I have a carrot. And I'm going to have a scotch bonnet, a pepper, hot pepper, we call it canibutija or guana. Then we have sweet pepper. And, of course, the magic touch, onion. We will never say no to this. Of course, with corn soup, perfect the delicacy of sweet, sour, and of course the spice that gives the kick and making you love and fall in love with our Gambian ground soup. So I'll take you through the process of creating or building up this recipe, and then you try it too at home. Oh, by the way, we have lemongrass, but this is the stem of the lemongrass. Normally, our people, we use the hay, which is of course the leaves of the lemongrass. But this is actually where the secret of flavors are. But the good thing is, it's now nicely washed. The best thing to do is making sure it's hard, don't chop, just break it. And then you have it in this way. So today we're gonna have this for our tea time. Bang, here you go. Let it infuse in hot water. Do not boil fresh herbs from the start, because you lose all those nutritional values that it can give to you. So I'll start my ground soup presentation to you now by, I've got to wash my hands, which is number one procedure, anything that you do. Always use a towel, which is called disposable, that you can throw after use, and then you wouldn't need to. You will reuse it again for bacterial colonization. Then I'm going to chop off my onion, which needs washing as well. I'm not going to use the whole onion, so I'm not going to waste it. There you go. So I'll use what I want to use. Just to make sure it's nice and thin. Because I know we like these crunches when we're doing our ground soup. But this is also equally good to have this. So I have my onions. Of course, everything fresh in here goes into that. Then we have your chili, which is here. But this is spicy. So for the spice, it's your choice. Make it as spicy as you want. It's also washed nice and clean prior to the chopping. I always fear to use my hands on chilies. So this is how it is. Then, how do we actually relax these onions? By having to add in acid. The acid today we're using is only vinegar. But you can combine vinegar and lemon juice or lime juice to help in this situation. So you pour it over it to allow it to rest. Give it a little stirrer. As this has been kept on the side to relax, this is the sardine, of course. Now that goes inside of this ground soup. So we're crossing it. So now today I'm going to present you with this. So whilst this is kind of is developing, I have to continue with my carrot. Sorry, that's the cucumber, of course, the cucumber and carrots. I'm going to have to peel it. This is washed anyway, prior. So the best is like I'm getting this. This is what we call cucumber ribbons. Ribbon like you have in your textiles. This, don't throw away. What you do with it is having to now transfer this on here, and this bit you can always cut a little bit of it. So this goes into our ground soup again to give you that crunch. Then I will have a tomato, which I will have to wash. We got the tomato. First of all, get the hard bit off. This is not easily digested, so it's not the best to eat, but you can choose to eat if you wish to. The juices of tomatoes are not bad because they are sour and you're preparing a sour dish. So that can still equally go into that to give it color and also a balanced nutritional ingredient. Now, we haven't salted it, so I mixed the salt and pepper together to give you that texture you need. So now, technically, our ground soup is ready, almost. So the other thing that we haven't done is the carrot. So what I will do with the carrot, of course, I'll peel the carrot. Then now, we're gonna have to use the ribbons. Now again, we're doing ribbons again with this. Now the trouble you're gonna have is that because carrots are really crunchy and because it's fresh, although it's beautifully consumed fresh and the nutritional value is higher, but still we will this time do a different way by having to relax it, which is of course by easy method of having it in a pan. So here we go. I'll just add a little bit touch of oil just to make sure it rolls over it. So basically this goes in there. Hello and good morning. Welcome again to our Meals in 10 breakfast segment of GRTS.
Well, there it is, and it looks quite yummy, and it's yummy itself because I've tasted it. I know somebody, my intruder per se, will feel bad about it. Like, who cares? Because it looks. Good. Oh, you are here. Oh,
yeah.
Good morning.
From the sky.
From the sky. It's amazing to know that. How you? But what kept you? Why did you just intrude it? Why did you just fell from the sky? What happened?
Yeah, and mysterious traffic jam happening in our area.
Really? Where do you live?
I live behind Birkama.
Seriously?
That big forest behind Birkama.
Like seriously?
Is where I live.
And you had to come all the way from Birkama?
Yeah.
What time did you wake up?
I woke up at 5:30.
By Birkama is 5. You should have just brought it back to maybe around Latikunda or Talinding per se. Anyways, good morning.
Good morning, but still on the culinary art, because one of Gambia's finest chefs, Sekou Sanka Bojang, has been awarded the Best Gastronomy 2020 Ambassador for the Gambia. A BSc graduate in the culinary art from Westminster University in London, Sekou proceeded to Farandi French School of Gastronomy, where he later bagged a master's degree in menu engineering and gastronomy in Paris, France, which has earned him jobs in many countries and won many competitions as well. He made breakthroughs working with Royal Ascot, Royal Hampton Court Palace, and the Windsor Castle in UK. The Gambia star chef also amassed huge experience working in most open golf and rugby championships and football teams such as Manchester City and Chelsea in 2010. In the studio with us this morning, the AM introduces the star chef of the Smiling Coast of the Gambia, our very own right here, Chef Bojang. A warm welcome to the GRTS studios and congratulations.
Thank you.
Rahim, before you even go, when I heard he was coming, like I was so kind of excited, and I was like, he's going to bring us food now, finally. There will be food on the table today. But unfortunately, but anyways, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
But Chef, tell us about the Best of Gastronomy.
Yeah, Best of Gastronomy started from the France, where in the university that I was going, that is Ferrandi. One of our great chefs called George Grunwald initiated in having to have only French cuisiniers, meaning French chefs to actually come on board, come up with their expertise or skills to display and market it out. Then he thought of having this idea of having to expand it globally, which went really kind of like it sprang out quick, because now we have about 212 countries within the Best of Gastronomy as at now.
Okay.
So that's how Best of Gastronomy came about. It's mainly to source out the best chefs within the globe, bring them together and come up with ideas to build and recreate new dishes.
Okay, so can you please take us through the selection process of this competition which you were awarded?
Yeah, I mean, every country within the Best of Gastronomy recommended countries will have to come up with menus and they'll have to justify their menus, why those menus have been chosen, and also they look into the originality, how authentic it is, simplicity, and they'll go into nutritional values of it, and of course uniqueness of the dish as well. So we presented out of 167 countries. Of course, chefs from all these countries will have to present something. So when I got contacted, basically, I think he contacted me through my social media pages to say, oh, I've seen what you've been doing, and I still remember something about you, because during my university time, I wrote my dissertation, which of course they're still using within the campus, with a question says, where did we go wrong? So where did we go wrong? Still the answer didn't come on, because that came through as I went, why is it that when we eat food, we eat great foods, we go to medicine school, medical clinics or centers, we get our treatments, but a mad person doesn't need a medical doctor, doesn't go to any medical facility, and they don't care what they eat, they don't care where they sleep, they don't take showers, but they still live longer than us and live healthier than us. So where did we go wrong? So that question still unanswered. So, so through that, I mean, he said to me, I still remember this this of yours, so, and I still think you're still doing great, because I'm following your social media pages. So basically, I want you to come on board and show us something. So through that, I just said, okay, I'm in Africa, I'm in the Gambia, and a small little country. There are a lot of things here that actually get thrown in the bins or trashed out, which we actually can use and make the best use of their nutritious value. So I presented, if you see on that picture of mine, where I got a collage of that picture, you see that I am being collaged with a picture of a dish, which I presented. And this is called the blossoms of pumpkins. You know, when a pumpkin is actually growing flowers, I use those flowers because they got a very high nutritious content with them. So I used the pumpkin flowers, of course the cucumbers, and a crostini of a fresh bread, which I actually presented on, and of course petals of tomatoes. So this actually is a salad, but the salad, the nutritious content of this salad is just, you can't calculate that. And it's simple, classic, and something that actually anyone else can do it at home.
Maybe that's the reason why, as educators, sometimes there's these prestigious restaurants where, especially in European countries, where they bring you a small plate
of food
with just an oil
and they'll be like,
small little teensy things, and it costs a fortune.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't.
It's the same way.
To me, I don't understand that. Why do those small little things make it cost so much money?
I think that's the same thing with Ngala Lodge. I went to Ngala Lodge and I saw a meal that they prepared, and I saw the cost was $5.50. It was very small. Like, just if you were like, I wanted to die, I would like, why would I just spend $550 on this small thing that can't even fill my stomach?
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't fill your stomach. By looking at you, this doesn't fill your stomach.
Even do anything.
What makes these foods so expensive? Well, or is it just the restaurant itself?
Well, you've got to go with your label. You've got to go with your signature. You've got to go with your skills. And of course, sourcing of most of these great ingredients are not actually easy. So let alone, if we have, let's say, if I'm to get blossoms of pumpkin seeds, or of pumpkin flowers, it's going to take me a long time before I'm able to get a kilo. Because I'm looking at that sproutings or that flower from the pumpkin. And then we can have a runner of pumpkins here. I might be able to only get maybe 6 or 10 blossoms out of it. Because some of them maybe got insects in them, or they're not good enough for you to use. So sourcing of the right ingredients is not actually easy. And of course, you're going with what we call your signature, with your label, for people to say that is the bomb. So it's not actually going to be a cheap dish, because the involvement, the time that you consume in having to prepare that dish, it's not as just bish bash something and then send it out.
When I'd rather have my chicken and chips, man.
Chicken and chips.
Or even have my pizza per se.
Yeah, I go with my chicken and chips. But anyway, what does it mean for a chef to be part of Best of Gastronomy? We're seeing the slideshow of pictures of all of these great chefs, and you happen to be part of it. What does this mean for a chef?
Well, like I said, the initial idea is having to source out great chefs across the globe. And then, of course, you cannot just be called a great chef without having to be tested. So you've got to be tested based on, let's say, we'll be asking you to come up with an original, authentic, a great dish, which actually, you go into the costing of the dish, we go into the originality, the balance or the nutritious balances in it, before you get to be enrolled. So here in the Gambia, of course, being the only country, I've also made a breakthrough of having to have 5 goals in the Gambia. So every country is entitled to 1 gold, but the Gambia we have 5 goals. So based on the trust, based on how great we are when it comes to food and nutrition. So this made us to have 5 goals, including myself having a goal as well. So meaning we are doing very well, I mean, compared to other countries, because even Nigeria got only 1 gold. Ghana got 2 golds. And then South Africa.
have 5.
We have 5. So South Africa got 3 golds and 4 silvers. So Gambia we have, let's say, 6 golds, well, mine inclusive. So we will say Gambians are really great. It's just that we need that motivation. We need that platform to actually, I mean, showcase our skills and talents.
Are the other gold recipients your colleagues?
Yes, they are people that are actually tested and verified by the president who is in France. So this is not a Gambian thing. It is vetted and, you know, cross-checked by a French body, which they have all these, what do you call them, all these experts who are there to vet every single dish that you display. So if you see on that, I happen to be the first, among the first 10 chefs out of 167 chefs within countries that made it to the gold and presidentials of presenting a dish that actually is of that level and is part of the, what we call 100 chefs, 100 recipes, 1 book, which actually, I am actually part of the first, they gave me the first. I don't know how, but they gave me the first. Everyone else came in and then they got given, and even on that slideshow of the videos or collage of pictures, you see me as the first person that they actually presented, meaning my dish happened to be the winner. And that's why they gave me the opportunity to recruit 5 more people to give them gold if they can actually win for a gold medal. Otherwise, they would have been in bronze, silvers, or nothing. So to become a part of us is just be real, be great, be creative, and be original. Come up with a dish that is not seen anywhere. Use our own ingredients that are actually thrown, people don't really know. Like right now, if I say to you, papaya seeds, they are the best nutritious seeds we can have in the country, you'll be like, how? But papaya seed, 1 papaya seed got about 3 ingredients in it. We have what we call anti-helminth effect, which is kind of like a deworming effect, and it also got kind of a peppery effect in it, and it also got something called a horseradish, which is a spice. So 1 seed got all this in 1, and you can actually use this as your black pepper as well. But we throw it in the bin. You know, we're talking about even mango seeds, kernels. You know, the mango seed itself. When you dry it, you know, in other countries, you know, it's edible. You can actually roast it and actually make a curry out of it. But we're throwing them away. Watermelon seeds, you can dry them, toast them, and make breads out of them, or even have them in salads or even in cereals.
I can remember in one of the Arab countries I went, the watermelon seeds were roasted, just like we roast groundnuts.
Yes.
They roasted there. It's called fisfis.
That's it.
And as small as those watermelon seeds are, they roast it, and then they're very good. The Arabs are very good with it. They just throw it in their mouth, and they crack the nut and eat what's inside, and they throw the nut outside.
This is it.
Yeah.
So we have
Tastes
them on
really
here,
good,
free of charge.
Yes, that is.
We trade them away.
It's called fisfis.
So that's how it is, yeah.
Well, Chef, finally, as the president of the Gambia Chef Association, COVID-19 is almost being well controlled here in the Gambia, thank God, and most restrictions have been lifted. How are the chefs ready to actually, you know, rejuvenate the whole industry back again?
Well, the chefs right now, what we say is the COVID-19 taught us lessons and then made us independent and made us bigger and better. to the fact that like now we have opened up our arms to say we don't really need a hotel or a restaurant to become successful. You can do it alone or do it in large numbers. So for it to be, we're not really looking forward for a season this year or neither next year based on this COVID, and of course even though there's a relaxed measure in the COVID containing, we're not receiving tourists from other countries. So regardless of that, there is no season for us to actually smile and look forward to. So it's more like, what can you do for yourself and for your people or your family? So this is what actually is going on right now, because we don't really get to see that there's a possibility for a season to be well, fully fledged and celebrated. So it's more like we are released, we are allowed to actually be doing or going out and about without much of restrictions, but the actual tourism is just, unless the government or our people peg into local tourism, then that actually could make us something. But that is not really attractive as to when we have foreign or tourists coming from other countries.
Do you sometimes by chance actually think about, I'm here with all the degrees I have, master's degrees I have, and I'm here in the Gambia, and it's not working that as I desired it to be. And if I go to Europe and work with these big restaurants, I have all the credentials to work in these big restaurants and make a fortune, why shouldn't I just go and just, you know, make a proper, decent living for myself? Do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it was a really brave move I had to make to come home. Because before even coming home, I was working in really big restaurants. I mean, I must say, even Buckingham Palace, I was the first African to actually work for Buckingham Palace. And then, of course, the Royal Ascot is one of the biggest and the most prestigious race courses in whole world, wherein I'll have the Queen for like a whole week. I mean, I'll be, you know, cooking and serving. Of course, my food gets served to her. We're talking about the Hampton Court Palace. We're talking about the Royal Chelsea flower shows. You know, Windsor Castle. You know, I have gone through all those. So now I say to myself, I've seen it all now. And of course, the company I was working for, we have about over 2,500 outlets across the globe. Okay. So I was able to travel to about 23 different countries to work as a chef. So then I thought, coming home, I'm able to do something for my people and to showcase my skills and to prepare my people to be on an upper scale as chefs, and which I'm trying to do now. And I believe it's actually proven evident enough that I'm good enough to take a lead in this, because, you know, I prepared Gambians for international junior chef competitions. They came first and second. You know, representing the country in other countries, we coming up with big wins. And then, of course, Best of Gastronomy again, which is not literally, I'm not even present among the judges. These judges were basically French and European, who are actually really great chefs, who are actually been there to vet and, you know, see where they can fault me. Technically, that's what it is. Yeah. But I didn't look into saying, okay, I want to go back to the UK where I've made a breakthrough, or to France where I made a breakthrough, but I just said I can always make it in my own home. And this is what's motivating me here. And my motivation also is towards the youngsters that I'm actually inspiring to be inspired again. So that actually is something that's making me push and push and push.
Wow, what a wonderful, inspiring story, Chef Bojang. You know, we've been watching these videos before. We've spoken to you before during the whole COVID-19 issue when you guys were serving out food. But I never knew your story. I never knew that this is what you have actually been through. It's like I'm knowing you all over again. It's like it's like a new person, to be honest. But congratulations, and you have a very inspiring story. And you're right, you need to come back home and actually inspire the youngsters here and prepare them for the next generation or the next task to actually come. Thank you very much for your time here on the AM show, Chef Bojang. We'll go for a short break, and when we return, the AM show continues.
welcome back to the AM show. That was an exciting and interesting interview with our very own Chef Bojang. We now move on to the Center for Research and Advocacy on Women and Adolescents Health, Karawa. It's a non-profit organization whose vision is to create a Gambia where sexual and reproductive health rights of the populace are respected and assured. Karawa joins a massive venture to expand access to reproductive rights and knowledge amid efforts to protect women against discrimination and violence. Karawa founder Fabian Inagran Sagna, a registered nurse with double master specializing in reproductive health, is here to tell us more about the organization's work. Good morning, Madam Sagna, and welcome to the AM show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay. Now, reproductive rights are essential for women and girls to reach their fullest potential. Why is this crucial for sustainability?
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation. I'm honored to be with you people. As you just mentioned about CROA, we believe in sexual reproductive health rights for an individual because without sexuality there can't be any reproduction. And we have seen a lot of things happening in the country without people knowing what's happening and what's going on in their lives. We have seen that adolescents from menarche to menopause, they don't know anything about themselves. We can see that the culture is one of the barriers. That's why people are just ignored about it. Not only the culture, but the shyness and as well as lack of knowledge. But in the Gambia, we have seen that parental issue, child issue, cultural issue, and as well shyness and lack of knowledge has affected our rights of what we need to know, how we need to be with ourselves. And we have seen that like communication is a big gap in the Gambia, wherein parents don't even communicate with their adolescent about who they are. You've seen adolescents being everywhere, seeking for information, and the information should start at the houses. But we, according to the research that I have currently published, we've seen that 9% of the adolescent knows information from their parents and from their homes. So we see it important to reach out girls to know about their reproductive rights, because if we don't go out in the communities, they won't able to know who they are, not only to girls but also to women as well, because a lot of people, a lot of women in the country, they lack information. They lack education and communication. We see that it is important because if we don't reach them out in the communities or where they are, they won't able to get information. So information is part of their rights, and right is also part of information. That's why we come out and also start doing this advocacy. We are there to do advocacy because advocacy can bring research-based evidence. So it's both advocacy and research that we are doing in the Gambia.
All right. Now, we've seen a rise in gender-based violence cases in the Gambia, especially during the COVID-19 partial lockdown in the Gambia. So what does this tell about access to protection?
Yes, the gender-based violence has been on rise recently. We have seen that. This is all because of lack of information and lack of preparedness. Because if people are informed about their rights, they will equally know how to just protect themselves, and also the knowledge. If those who are doing this violence to the women or to the girls, lack of knowledge can also lead to them.
Okay. Now, you've spoken about the issue of shyness, which has prevented many people from speaking about. And I think this has to go back to the way that most people have been brought up. Like, we don't even talk about certain issues when it comes to our family level. I, for one, I've grown up up till my 20th birthday. That was when I was kind of open to talk about, but I still feel shy to talk about most of these issues because of the way I was brought up and where I live. Like, it becomes like a taboo for many people to talk about these things in society. Now, tell us your organization, CRAWA.
Our organization, CRAWA was founded in late 2019, last year, and how it all came about is like when I was doing my master's in reproductive health in Nigeria, I did an internship in an organization called WAC. They deal with women and children. So, and I also did a research. My research was basically on reproductive health, especially on adolescent sexual and reproductive health. So when I came back home, I did a research in and out of the schools. The in were targeted for girls because we know that girls don't get information about their reproductive health life. As you just mentioned, you are an example, and most other girls also are an example. So after the outcome of the research, I sit down and say, no, we need to do something. Not only reaching out in the schools, but also create an organization called CROA, wherein we'll be doing advocacy to talk about the girl's reproductive health as well as the woman's reproductive health. Though we say that it's not going to be enough because the approach that normally people use is only girls and women. But we said it's going to be inclusive, wherein it's going to be male and female, both young and old. Because if the male are involved, they can also reach out other people in their community and in their house, and also protect even their young ones, their siblings. Some can also educate their parents, because parents don't have knowledge. Most of the Gambian population, we are local. To talk about sexuality is an issue, and as I mentioned, sexuality is part of reproductive health. People will be doing a lot of sexual activity without even knowing. There are a lot of issues in reproductive health. You have the fertility, you have infertility, you have the reproductive cancers, you have the HIV, you have the STIs rather, and STIs includes HIV. People don't know about even these STIs. They only know HIV, most of the population. So like if you reach them out, talk to them about menarche. As the young girls don't even know menarche, and menarche is puberty, where the child's development arises. You see the changes in girls. So certain changes in girls, they don't even know why these things are happening because their parents don't inform them. And sometimes you won't also blame the parents because the parents also lack knowledge because their parents also didn't sit down to communicate with them. You can see couples in the Gambia, they don't even talk about sexual reproductive health. What the only concern is the sexual activity, but they need to know why they are doing this sexuality, because sexuality also includes reproduction. When you do sexual activity, what expectations are is to reproduce, and the process of reproduction, you yourself, a woman herself, won't even know the processes unless and until you seek medical advices. But most of the time in the Gambia, even those who are married, they don't communicate. They don't even go to the facilities until they are rich or due to deliver. So all these things leads to leadness to shyness is because of lack of knowledge and awareness.
Well, this is a very interesting program. What I actually want to know is, there is a lot of talk and discussions with regards to FGM, and this topic actually relates very much to FGM. And at some point, the only sexual or reproductive discussion that happens in households is probably when your child is about to go through FGM. So sometimes when a child goes through FGM, when she grows up and doesn't know what actually happens to her and how she should actually start using herself, her body and things like that, how does a mother actually communicate with a child in this type of circumstances where a child has been mutilated to not be able to give birth properly or to not even be able to have sex? Because when you go through FGM, there's a part in FGM where you're actually sealed to a point that you can't even have sex. So this might even hamper the discussion to actually even come about. So how should we actually discuss this type of topic with regards to FGM and the sexual reproductive health?
FGM is part of reproductive health, but FGM is part of the key consideration in reproductive health, which involves harmful traditional practices. In the Gambia, most girls don't know that they are victims of FGM until they are going to their husbands or during delivery. So you see, like in FGM, you have types of FGM. You have the type 1, type 2, and type 3. And type 1 and type 2, they are mostly practiced in the Gambia, where in type 1, they cut the clitoris, that is the lips of the vagina. And the type 2, they remove the labia minora plus the clitoris. And the type 3 that you just mentioned, which is the sealing, is called infibulation. And once that happens, it's a big disaster. Because if the child is pregnant, or if the child is going to get married, they have to do defibrillation. That is, they have to open her again. And once she is open, they don't go, it's not medical, because FGM is basically cultural. They go and open her to the traditional people, and once the child is open, straight to the husband. And once the child is open, there is blood coming out. And immediately they take to use the husband, blood will still flow. So now, that is a very disastrous period, because the child will continue being bleeding. It's very painful. And in that process, once the husband takes you, and it continues, you can be pregnant during that period. And during that period, up to the period of delivery, that's labor and delivery, that's another issue. Because labor and delivery, if the child is sealed, has been sealed, because once that cutting happens, they remove the entire vagina and just seal it, just leave a hole. And the hole that they leave is usually the passing of the urine as well as the vagina. So now, when that things happen, the child cannot. The child won't know that happened, because most of the girls, they only know, they think that that is part of the vagina, where they have been mutilated. This part of the vagina, they have been mutilated, and now the process of delivery happens. That's why if the child doesn't know, in Krowa, we sensitize in the schools, in the communities. We talk about it. Once we talk about FGM, we'll ask the girls, once they go home, let them assess themselves. Because they have been shown different types of FGM. Once they assess themselves and see the difference, now they have to be prepared. Because it affects their life. Psychologically, it affects them. So because during delivery, they are tight. And once the child is pregnant and goes to antenatal, and we see that, as a nurse, we see that she has been infibulated, then we will prepare that child for cesarean section. Because it can bring obstruction of labor.
If
FGM cannot come out.
If FGM 3 happens to
type
a
3,
type 3 happens to a girl, is there any medical way to actually save her from that pain of delivery and actually going to have sex with her husband?
Yes, there is, because it has already been performed during childhood. And once we see that individual, we do counseling, we communicate, we prepare that child psychologically and emotionally, because it's a tragic. So we'll prepare them. So if we see that this child is tight, if the child is tight, then we'll have to counsel the child to go for cesarean section. But if we happen not to counsel and leave the child like that, the child during delivery can have obstruction. And if the child, the head, the fetus is about to come out, then if it just come out like that rapidly, it can burst the cervix, the cervical area. And if that thing is burst, then another ill condition comes wherein it's called fistula.
Fistula, yeah.
That fistula, it's burst the wall between the vagina and the anus. And we have seen a lot of women suffering from fistula.
Yeah.
So these things, these harmful traditional practices, we should just not sit down like that without communicating. We have to just communicate to the public. We have to keep on doing advocacy, because we know that traditional practice, they are harmful. People are just sitting on it without even knowing.
That's exactly where we're going to go next. You know, how much is advocacy in promoting sexual and reproductive health, helping to support access? You know, I've been with the Constitutional Review Commission on a tour throughout the country, and we were speaking to different people about their opinions on different topics with regards to the Gambia. It was their first consultative tour. And people in the North Bank region and in the Central region, the women were actually saying that they have to allow people to go to actually practice their FGM. They are proud of it, they want it, and things like that. You know, they've been through it. They've been through the cutting, they've been through all that pain, the women themselves, and they're still advocating that they should allow them to do that to their children. I don't know what good part they have actually seen in it, but they are the best ones to actually answer. So how much is advocacy in promoting sexual and reproductive health, helping to actually curb this whole saga of FGM or not FGM?
Yeah, advocacy, like a lot of us organizations are doing well, but in terms of advocacy, we really need to do more acceleration, because there are certain advocacy, people don't talk about it, and it is happening. So we need to just do, it's going to be a multi-state collaboration to go out and reach them, and not only talking about this FGM or non-FGM, not just the mere of talking, but let us portray and show them the health consequences of it, the factors that it can that causes it, you know, and also the way forward. Because talking is not, we have to do action. Action by, we have seen, evidence have shown, the researchers have shown it. Let's go and portray and inform them, not only in English, because sometimes these agencies, they go and talk in English, wherein the local people won't even know. They will just sit down and be watching. But we have to mingle with our local languages and reach out the unreached. People, they know, but they want to be ignorant. But we have to keep on doing it. We should not be relaxed. We should not be lazy. We should not be discouraged. But we have to keep on going advocate about sexual reproductive health. Certain sexual reproductive health, just some, but reproductive health, as I mentioned, it have about 7 components. And key consideration also are harmful traditional practices like FGM and gender-based violence and adolescent sexual reproductive health.
Okay. Now, finally, do you have any other activities in the pipeline in terms of educating the masses on sexual and reproductive health?
For Krowa, yes, we have activity. Recently, we've been Krowa. We see that the unreached, we need to reach the unreached, like the uniform people. Last 2 weeks, we've been doing advocacy about sexual reproductive health at the military barracks, Union Barracks, Fajara Barracks, and 2 days ago, we went to the military headquarters, and next week we'll be going to the Navy, as well as the police just confirmed our invitation to go and do advocacy about sexual reproductive health. And our advocacy, we always talk about menarche to menopause, and most of the population in the Gambia here, we don't even know menarche, and menarche is menstruation. And the most important thing for a woman has to know herself. That is the ovulation. If a woman knows the pattern of the ovulation, then the woman will always know the menstruation period. So we talk about menarche, talk about menstruation, talk about ovulation, STIs, including HIV, family planning components, that is contraceptives. We talk about the hormonal, non-hormonal sterilization. And we talk about also the reproductive health cancers also, because cancer, we see that it is coming, especially this breast cancer and cervical cancer. We reach out the communities and we reach out also the schools. Those are our target area, and we also do counseling.
Okay. All right, Madam Sagna, thank you so much for your time on the AM show.
Thank you very much.
Interesting one there.
Thank you very much.
Now we will go with this Coffee With segment with Zainabou Jane for another exciting and interesting conversation. Do stay.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee With. I am your host, Zainabou Jang, and with me in the studio is 2 guests. And these are 2 guests. Usually I only have one. I talk to one personality, but today we're going to be talking to 2 because the field that they're into is the both of them that are doing the same thing. So we'll do nothing but go into the interview and find out more about my 2 lovely guests and where they started. Thank you. So hello guys, welcome to Coffee With.
Hello, thank you for having us.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So my first question is, tell Coffee With, who was Fatujuka Dabo before she became a co-founder of Make 3D?
Okay, good morning, Zainabou, and thank you for having us again. Fatujuka Dabo is a young Gambian that grew up in the Gambia, went to school in the Gambia, lived in Bundung almost all of my life, attended Sarakunda Primary School and later Gambia Methodist Academy. And from there, I did my junior and high school, and then I moved to GTTI where I did technician's diploma in mechanical engineering with a minor in electrical. So basically, all my life I have been doing school and activism, youth work, youth activism. They focus mostly on gender and women in STEM because throughout my life I've always loved science education. I've always loved being in the STEM fields, and I was kind of alone most of the times in these areas, and I went to GTTI. I was the only lady in my entire course for the whole of a 3 years period. So basically that's what I am focused on. And later, recently, sometime in 2019, I started Make 3D with my partner Sylvester Tikach.
Nice, nice, nice. So now the same question goes to you, Sylvester. Tell us who you were before you, fully put yourself into Make 3D.
Well, at the age of 9, actually, 2 important things happened to me. First, I repaired the electric lighter of my grandma in Slovakia. That's where my mother is from. It was working for like a few hours, but then all the electricity in like a big story building with maybe 40 apartments went down because of that, you know, so I was to blame. But then I decided to study a little bit more before I start repairing something.
Yeah, okay.
And also in the age of 9, I bought a book for physics about aerospace and about flying, because that time I realized I wanted to be the pilot. And 10 years later, I went to study flying at university, but unfortunately I couldn't finish it. I couldn't become the pilot because of my eyes.
Okay.
But still, since then I had a passion in technology, in aerospace and so on. But for a couple of years I left the area of engineering, the area of technology, and then I went to basically focus on development work and various solutions and finding the solutions. And then I came to the Gambia in 2017 with another project with Czech Bikes, providing bicycles to schools, but also teaching bike mechanics how to repair bikes and so on. And one of the constraints was how to get the tools. You know, some of the tools are kind of difficult to get in the Gambia, professional tools, if the bike needs to be repaired properly. So I was searching about the technologies, and I found 3D printing, and I started to experiment in 3D printing that time. And that's where we brought our first printer and said, okay, well, there's a lot of use for 3D printing in the Gambia, actually. So we started to focus and invest into the 3D printing until we established the company and, you know, broaden the area to many fields in the Gambia.
Nice, nice.
Well, welcome back. That was Jukalayan Dabo and her husband there talking about 3D printing, how they actually met. That would be a very interesting interview, you know. Juka is a very interesting personality, and having to actually get to know her story would be a very inspiring one, I believe.
I've seen the way you were behaving when Winnie said we are going to fade, then they were like, why fading it and all of that?
I was really looking forward to a little bit more in-depth interview with that. But moving on, a massive flood of gender-based violence during the lengthy lockdown period has inspired a fresh look into efforts to boost police understanding of gender-based violence issues in the Gambia. Now, partnering with the Gambia Paradise Foundation, the Gambia Police Force recently concluded a 2-day capacity building training on means to tackle sexual violence and effective evidence gathering, as well as laws and provisions on gender-based violence. The training, funded by the United Nations Population Fund, seeks to enhance understanding on case handling and management. Now we can bring in one of the organizers or the heads of the Gambia Paradise Foundation to tell us more about the training. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
Please introduce yourself first.
My name is Lamin Kebe. I work with the Police Gender and Child Welfare Unit, and also part of the coordinating team on the training of police officers, you know, on gender-based violence. Most especially on investigation, you know, evidence gathering, provisions and laws that govern, you know, gender-based violence. Because we deem it necessary, as you said, during the lockdown, a lot of issues arise, especially issue of domestic violence, wife battering, and then rape cases or sexual and gender-based violence cases. So this is why we deem it necessary that it's important to equip the police on the knowledge and the skills in order to address those kind of issues. And the training was, you know, on 2 phases. It started in CRR. That's where we did the official launching, and also training of some police officers. And then these 2-3 days ago, the training comes, you know, around Greater Banjul areas and West Coast region. If you see, the reason why we want to emphasize on the training is like we still realize a lot of gaps within the investigation techniques when you come to issue of gender-based violence, and this has resulted in so many lapses when it comes to delinquent prosecution of cases, because we realize sometimes, you know, at the community level, when cases of rape occurred, the evidence will be tampered, and also, you know, people are not coming forward as to lodge their complaint as it happened, because most of the time, all the recent cases that we normally have, it will only result to pregnancy, where a girl child has been raped for over 6 months or 7 months ago, and then the parents knew about it and they did not report it until when pregnancy came. And these are some of the issues that, you know, we want, you know, to partner with the community on those kind of issues. And that's why if you look at the training at the launching section in CRR, it was a cross section of the communities so that, we make it in a form of sensitization so that they will also know our concern, we will also know their concern in order to address those kind of issues in the country.
One of the most interesting parts of this whole topic is the part when the investigation part. Because we've seen an uproar of people who are actually talked about being raped, for example, in the past 2 years or the past 3 years, and just, recently having the courage to actually talk about it and mention it that they have been actually being raped. If these people actually want justice, how can the police do a proper investigation and have evidence that that actually happened when it happened 2 or 3 years ago?
Actually, as you say, these are some of the challenge because if you talk of investigation, you look at the end product, that is to secure conviction after a thorough investigation and when the file is sent to court for prosecution. And this is why we are really advocating anytime an act of violence against women occur, people to come forward to report.
Absolutely.
Because this is what will also help the investigators to establish that an offense has been committed and there are sufficient evidence to prove beyond reasonable doubt. Because as far as court issues are concerned, you need to prepare yourself. Because if you don't prepare yourself, and this is why sometimes you see certain cases that are taken to court, one day you'll see the individual quit and discharge. And those are some of the lapses that the investigation team also face. Because as you say, you are raped 3 or 4 years ago. And then actually when you talk about rape, there are so many things that need to be in place. First, medical examination on that victim or that survivor is very, very key to establish as to the physical nature of injury on the victim or survivor.
Forcible entries and stuff.
Forcible entries, and then the doctors, have to thoroughly examine that survivor in order to help the police in their investigation. Because if you don't have a strong medical evidence, sometimes it's always difficult to secure conviction. Because wherever you talk of rape, there must be force, there must be penetration, and then there must be either struggle or physical injury within the body of that survivor. So all those things, the police at our level, we cannot establish that. And this is why we deem it necessary that, the moment cases are reported, people come forward to even if you cannot come. Now that, we are working with, Paradise Foundation, and then some months ago, they have launched this 1313.
Yeah, the toll-free number.
It's a free line, and then and part of the free line, you have a competition of different stakeholders, ranging from the Ministry of Justice, the Gambia Police Force, the Department of Social Welfare. So you have all actors. So sometimes, if you call and then information reach to them, then those information also have to be shared to the relevant institution. Then people will know your role and responsibility. But if you want to sit over 2 to 3 years and then come forward now, sometimes based on our own cultural, perceptions, especially when you talk about rape, somebody who has been raped is always difficult to even explain the story to you, because we know it's something very, very much painful. So much so that those survivors, even to explain to their fellow friends, it's a problem much more to their family members. So sometimes we see certain situations. If you could recall, recently we have some cases that probably the perpetrator will be arrested, and based on that arrest, then the other survivors will start coming. That it has once done to me. He has once did to me on so many years. So, but basically, if you look at, if you want to do a thorough investigation on all those things, sometimes it's very, very difficult, because all the evidence that is required, most of them has even been tampered. Like when the victim was raped, the
semen has
the
gone.
semen, or even the clothes, the underwear, and all those things. Those are very, very good, evidence that will help the police in investigation.
Okay.
And probably it's even sometimes very, because like a girl child of 16 years, 15 years, most of the time when it happens, we sometimes deem it very difficult, because if you look at it, if somebody is 15 years and then you claim that, she was raped, and then the parents, the first thing that the police need to start on their investigation to confirm how old is that victim. And this is why sometimes, we always advocate that, you cannot have a girl child, you don't even have a birth certificate for that child. Sometimes, it's always difficult. And then what the investigators will do is to go for age determination. And age determination, we all know, sometimes it's based on your physical appearance. that you will be examined. So it's good that a victim of sexual and gender-based violence to let the parents also help the police in their investigation when they come to confirming their age, because this really helps us a lot.
Okay.
To determine, because we have a lot of provisions in the law that will now determine whether it's rape or even it's defilement. So based on the age of that victim, even if the rape case happened in 3 years ago or 4 years ago, but based on the age, we will be able to determine what category of rape does it fall in.
That's very interesting. Now, the pandemic has been a very difficult period for women, highlighted in the spike of gender-based violence cases. Reporting has been greatly improved. Now, how helpful is data in tackling this problem?
Actually, I think if you look at it at our level, that's why recently I think the Ministry of Women, Children and Social Welfare, together with the key stakeholders like the Network Against Gender-Based Violence, Paradise Foundation, and then the Gambia Police Force. Because if you want to have correct data with diminution, we should have a central data system where all these actors have to fill in their data. Because if you want to do a separate data on cases, because cases that are reported to the Network Against Gender-Based Violence, or Gambia Police Force, or Paradise Foundation, or Women's Bureau, might be different from the one that is reported to the Gambia Police Force. So this is why now the country is trying to develop a national central data system that is going to be responsible to have a solid data system in the country, so that if you want to look for number of cases of rape in every year, you will be able to distinguish. And if you look at, since the pandemic has started, we have a lot of domestic violence cases in the country. And this has even prompted the Gambia Police Force, in collaboration with the Paradise, to seek for funding, and then UNFP has secured some funding, because we realized that during the COVID period, parents, father and both husband and wife and children, they are all living together, and sometimes it's always difficult, like where you all jumped up together and then there is no other work to do. You see, because based on even that, sometimes we realize that children were used for exploitation purposes. Because if you look at, since the pandemic has started, a lot of children were involved in these petty sellings within the market. And then we came to realize that most of the time, some of them are even abused by unknown person. And that's why, because if you send your child from all the way from Tabokoro to Serekunda, purposely to sell water or juice or whatsoever, he or she may be in contact with different people.
Yes.
And that's why sometimes, based on those kind of situations, even if your child has been raped, it's always difficult for us to even know who actually done the act.
Yeah.
Because those perpetrators will not even take them to their houses. They can take them to in a complete building where the victim cannot even identify those kind of places. And we also came to realize that, even at home, the husband and wife will also have this kind of push and pull when it comes to issue of fees money, because the husband feel like, I'm not going to work, and then my wife has no right to ask me about money. So sometimes you have a lot of domestic issues in this pandemic, and that's why the Gambia Police Force Community Policing Unit is really doing well in those kind of those areas, that we are going around to the grassroots level, so that we'll discuss with people that we need to have that mutual understanding, because we all know the situation. Even though you are not working, but it's your responsibility as the head of family to provide economic gain for your children and your wife. So these are also brought a lot of issues, and then at the end, what will come is domestic violence. Either the husband will start it battering the wife, and then it will result to injury. Then the matters will be reported to the police, and then investigation will start. So actually, this COVID-19 has created a lot of those kind of situations, and then but thank God, based on this project, we are also working closely in those kind of areas.
All right, Mr. Kebeta, that was quite explicit there. Thank you so much for your time on the AM show today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, live from Banjul, this is the special weekend edition of the AM show. Up next is GRTS Social takes a closer look at the latest news, hashtags, and stories trending online. Do stay with us for more on that.
I am Sister Jack.
Hi, this is X Miles.
Hi, this is Sex.
Hello, I'm Ronald.
Hi, I am Anna Mane, a fashion designer.
I am Danny Constant.
And I'm Fanta Jamba Sise.
AM show, I'm watching each and every AM. So every Gambian and every person watch the AM show each and every day. Hey, chahan kuwandati jenka bitol fale dak. Ifele katamako mansaki inyal ben kanchak kole ko simbe duma sabe duma fonse mutalitap konye general webo kadi amulimo yefimak victory top of the top no fit songs them go pop dan salman go chop if no really bones we adapt skank the AM show afoba mad.
Welcome back to the AM show. Now we go to GRTS socials. What's trending, Rahim?
I think you should tell me what's actually trending on social media.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, one thing
I haven't had a smartphone for a very long time.
Like, seriously.
I don't know what one.
You know much more than I do what is happening on social media. Now, one thing I know for sure that has been making rounds is this disease from Charoy in Senegal.
Yeah.
That looks more like a chicken pox and which has been affecting mostly the fisher folk around that part of the country. As of Wednesday, it affected around 700 people. And I believe it transfers from one person to another as well. But when it started, mostly it was affecting fishermen. So then I raised the question, as far as it's from the sea per se, and then all of that, how safe are we when it comes to the fish that we consume? Looking at Senegal, how close Senegal and Gambia is and all of that.
You know, I was watching television yesterday, and even though they're speaking French, because I wanted to know exactly what was happening, I heard about this issue, and I learned through the little bit of Wolof and English that Wolof and French they were saying that it's something that actually happened in the sea, and that the fish ate it, and then the people who ate the fish actually got this type of disease. I'm not sure if that is the right thing, but according to the way they were saying it, the way they were explaining it, that's what I could pick up from what they were saying. That
and I
has to do with the fish.
Like
some people ate that type, the fish.
Was it? No, I think I saw something different on Sen TV on Tuesday. Like what happened, it was affecting those that were going to the river to fish, and most of those that carried the basket, the fish basket, yes, from the sea and then transferring to, those were the people that were affected by these rashes and all of that on the skin. Yeah, that was on Tuesday, what I saw on Sen TV and all of that.
Wow, this is a very, and it's a very scary type of rash.
It is.
The way it appears on your skin, some people on their faces, down to their stomach.
Yeah, and the mouth and all of that. So, and I saw some people were interviewed, especially those where I think it has extended to other communities, but I knew of Charoy. When some of these people were saying like, some parents around that end were saying they're scared of their kids because their kids are mostly the ones that go out from school and all of that. So now what they do is from school and all of that, they go and pick their kids and stay at home without even going out because they fear the fact that it might transfer to the families and all of that. Because of the way it spreads from the body, all part of it, it's quite very scary. And that somewhat is alarm as a country like the Gambia, looking at close to Senegal, and then tend to question fisher folks and all of that. We tend to question if it is from fish. How safe are we when it comes to fish consumption?
That's why I stay with my chicken. I believe in my chicken.
Whenever I've been eating chicken, people will say I love chicken. To an extent, some people name me Aisha chicken and all that. I am still proud. But now the fish that people, it has protein and everything, but now it's kind of scary. So,
but it's a very scary thing, and I hope you haven't heard any fatalities yet.
As of now, I have not had any. Maybe unless if people go on to the social media and tend to see what's actually the state of that that disease in Senegal at this point.
Yeah, another thing actually trending on social media is that Elegance magazine has actually clocked 10 years. Chilel Sarr, who's the publisher of Elegance magazine, has been doing a great job. He started way back since 2010 with her maiden edition, which featured Ndeye Awa Kane on the front cover. Elegance magazine has actually grew, not just becoming a local magazine where it's only published or sold here in the Gambia, but it has been expanded to throughout the sub-region. They have actually featured royalties in Nigeria, actors, actresses in Nigeria, and it has went globally throughout the whole diaspora. So it actually even covers what happens in the diaspora, people who actually have their ngentes or their weddings in the diaspora. You know, Elegance Magazine features those things, and even interviews very, very phenomenal personalities. People are doing a great job, be it humanitarian, be it, you know, in their own career or their own field of work, like the likes of Malik Khan, the CEO of Point Click Technologies. You know, so many interesting stories have been showcased by Elegance Magazine, and they clocked at 10 years just this weekend on Friday. And I wish Chilel Saad, who is the publisher, the best of luck and more wins to come in her next, you know, 20 or 30 years to go.
Okay, and I've also seen like this interesting something on the social media that has to do with these malams that tend to tell you that I have all of the marabouts and all of that. So there was this incident between Malam Mohammed and one UTU student. Let's read, let me just read what it says. Like the Malam greeted with all exchange pleasantries with the person, and then it was like, I am great Chief Malam, powers who help people in terms of their needs, so you can call me on blah 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 WhatsApp number right now for any of these following solutions: instant money, lotto number, marriage problems, promotion in workplace, sickness, court case, traveling to abroad, school of knowledge, documents, problems, business to move forward. And court case, yeah, and all of protection, do not forget my WhatsApp number. So how can I help you? Was the last question from the Malam. And now, interestingly, the person that he sent it to, the person said, oh, you do this too. I forgot to introduce myself. I am Marabut Alhaji Sheikh Omar Champion, nationally renowned and globally recognized. I can enlarge your wealth in seconds, increase your bounties, and get you all you need for a blissful life. I can even help you get more customers for your spiritual career. Let me know if there's any way I can help you become richer, travel, and live a blissful life.
And
that was the end of the discussion. It was the same note before, prior to Omar Champion's case. It was Paragon, Mustafa Paragon Sonko.
Okay.
So when Mustafa replied, he blocked Mustafa. So from Mustafa, he turned to Omar Champion, and after this, and I think he's going to block Omar Champion too.
Invading everybody. I've seen so many people. I've seen so many friend requests. He hasn't messaged me, but I've seen so many friend requests from this Malan guy, you know. And he looks scary. Why would you have a profile picture where you're wearing all of these jujus and stuff?
Who's going to even,
you know, approach you, man?
It's quite
you know,
crazy.
at least, you know, the other marabouts we see in the marabouts we know in Gambia and Senegal, they dress up very nice. They dress up even better than you. Then your son say, "Haftani refed waramba refed be." So they are approachable.
Exactly.
You understand?
So you make yourself so scary.
You come
and
wearing
all
a hat with two horns, you know, looking like a devil from somewhere. You know, you're not approachable.
It's quite crazy though.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I think they should, you know, actually, you know, pimp their game up. You know, they get their fashion. They should see fashion design, Marabu fashion design. There should be an association of Marabu
fashion design. So you are the one suggesting for that. Let's see what happens. You're quite a corny person.
Okay, now let's head to a short music video break, and when we return, the AM show continues. We have a special surprise for you. Don't go nowhere.
ndeysaan xolam ma doon xesen baaraam moom jotee su ko bul xesenal ko Tante Marie aduna lu muy réy réy ñeenti nit a fi ne nit ku nite nit ku dofe dof bu nite ak dof bu dofe Tante Marie mooy daw si ñun ñi lee suñu mbokk la suñu waajur la ku jekkoon la ku taaru woon la Tante Marie suñu waajur la. Do you love music? Ndeysaan ak ñu lay bu rafet bi mu am har kanamam bi leer be di manduru jant bi ay boñam weex tal di nes nese ne biddiw bi mu jekkoon lool taaram ba di ma saf rafet taayu géwél ya ca àll ba ndeysaan Tante Marie nekkoon nit ku nite nga romb ko tey ci mbedd mi ngi ramboo i sagar nga koy xool di gis dof ana lan moo nawtal xelu Tante Marie xolam ma doon xesen te baaramam jote si ko pour xesenal ko ko Tante Marie Olof Njaay nee na ku ñépp xam foo jëm sa yoon dina sori lool ba tax ñu woy ko ndax deret buy daw ci yaramam mooy daw ci man mi di daw ci yow mi waaye di daw ci ñun ñépp
All right, welcome back to the AM show. That was something interesting there. The music video was explicit. It was wow.
It was epic.
And the poem itself, it's something else. It's a good one from them.
The Sabali Leadership Academy Cultural Choir, normally called SLA, is changing the scope of modern-day cultural songs, depicting its true meaning by sticking to its originality and norms in a new choir form. Now, the 12-member orchestra, presenting a powerful rhythm of voices, dropped their debut album in 2018, gaining local recognition for inspiring songs that tell stories of our forefathers and the evolution of modern-day Gambia. Now, a second sensational video has been premiered from their debut album called Tante Marie, which we just played right now. A wonderful music video, the cultural outfits, the whole scenery is just phenomenal. Now we have the choir themselves here. We have Mariama Cham, who's part of their lead vocalist. We also have Raymond Jata, we have Modu Kande, and we have Modu Jallo, who are all part of the SLA Cultural Choir. Thank you very much for coming on the AM show.
Thank you.
Now, first of all, let's start off with Mariama. Mariama, tell us more about the Sabali Leadership Academy Cultural Choir.
Okay, good morning, viewers out there. This is the Cultural Choir, SLA Cultural Choir, here on the AM show today. Okay, Sabali Leadership, Sabali Cultural Choir, SLA Cultural Choir rather, is a choir which was formed to remind people of the rich African culture through music. So it's a way of expressing ourselves in a cultural and a classical way. Yeah, through music. Yeah, it was formed to also nurture the talent in young Gambians, people like us. We have the voice, we can sing, but at least through the choir we're able to accept the culture that we have and to promote the unique Gambian culture, the diverse Gambian culture, because we sing Mandinka songs, Fula songs, Serir, and we are diverse in the songs we sung. So
and there's a whole lot of dancing attached.
Yeah, a whole lot of dancing.
And storytelling,
and
which is the most interesting part.
Yeah.
Now, we also have the bass liners, so the ones behind, bring up the bass. We have Modu Jallo, we have Modu Kande, and we have Raymond Jata. Now, Mr. Jata, tell us, how does the SLA Cultural Choir stories actually inspire you to actually know about your whole history, the history of Africa, the history of, what these stories tell, how they actually relate to you, and how you should conduct yourself today?
Well, so, I would say that SLA Cultural Choir, at the first place, I'm admired by them before I joined the group.
Yeah.
So, I'm a Jola by tribe, but I wasn't much into this tribal thing. So, but when I see SLA, then I was motivated to join and show my culture, to show other people that our culture is the best and we should try to hold on it and do the level best.
Look at how much are you enjoying the cultural choir? It's not something you normally see in Gambia, men being part of cultural choirs. And most choirs we see are the church choirs, in which there are men there, but young boys like us who go play football, do these different things, and actually being involved in choirs is not something you see every day.
Okay.
What's your experience being part of the choir?
Okay, first of all, maa leen di nuyu mbokki seetaankat yi di nuyu suñu manager Anti Jey ak suñu oncle Sabali. SLA dafa ñu play beneen rôle si soo bàyyi xel ñun suñu culture bi ñu ngi doon seetaan mu ngi dee, especially this Tanta Mary song. Man personally am na story related to that parce que suma childhood friend daal lam nga rek te dafa am this mental illness, but thank God family bi ñu ngi ko keep suñu ne mental illness suñu ne dof ñu nekk si mbedd bi nekkuñ dof de ñooñu they have this sickness, but ñun ñu leen dee seetaan ñuy dof légal ñuy dof si mbedd bi ñoo nekk dof yi. So am nga SLA play that part pour wan nit yi ne sa mbokkal yi su ko dalee warloo ko seetaanee noonu. Teral nga xëcc ko won ko ne yow yaa ngi si ñun ba léegi. So
that's very true. I can remember there was this launching of the SLA Cultural Choir we did at Ocean, and when this song was actually being performed, Modu Jallo himself standing here fell down and cried. It was a very emotional song because it actually taught us and told us how we should actually act with or treat people who are suffering from mental illness. People do suffer from mental illness. We have families who actually suffer from mental illness, and we tend to neglect them, which is very, very bad and sad. But not only this song is an inspiring song, but we also have the Mini Yamba songs. Yeah, a very good song. So, Modu Jallo, you're not. I won't take you as a serious singer, but through your experience with SLA Cultural Choir, you must have obviously found out some serious talent in you that you never knew that you had. What have you experienced working with SLA cultural choir that you found out in you, that you can actually see that you have this great potential in yourself that you can actually explore?
I bought from seeing them perform when they with their rehearsals. So when they see had to be like flow young moon feature, don't just join SLA choir and then go with them. I'm like, Auntie, yeah, once more bad with for this, no one would actually appreciate me. But then with her kindness and how she always cherishes young people with things that they actually love doing, then I joined the choir. Gradually, alhamdulillah, I could say my voice is actually deep, but it has actually played a role in the choir when it comes to the bass song. And SLA Cultural Choir, it's actually not just there for people to see us on stage, just dancing, enjoying the melodious voices. It's about appreciating our culture. It's about seeing ourselves whereby our own kids could actually learn a lot. It's actually a folk tale songs. It has moral in them. It has things that are actually related to our life, like we did the Tanta Mary, which is really emotional, like you made mention. I think mental illness is a real problem in our society. And we tend to neglect these people in our society. We tend to get these people knowing themselves they are actually part of us. She was actually one of us. So I think the SLA Cultural Choir did a very good role in my dancing life as well as a human for that.
I don't know who shot this video, but this music video is out of this world. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful music video. You know, thumbs up to Auntie J for actually still being a very persistent lady and making sure that the SLA Cultural Choir is still going. You know, many people will have actually, you know, relaxed off, you know, let go of this whole cultural choir thingy because of, you know, it's a very hard thing to actually maintain the whole this thing itself, the whole rehearsal itself, the whole, you know, getting the band together, the drummings together, and all of those things, getting it together. It's very, very, very hard. But when you have a husband like Mamadou Sabali inspiring you every day, you will obviously have to go on and on and on and on. So it's only right for this to actually go this far, and you'll be producing wonderful, exotic, phenomenal music videos like this.
What inspires me more of what you do is like they listen to a particular language, like their dialect. When it comes to singing in Wolof, in Mandinka, when you hear them sing in Wolof, it's like that's what they do best. You hear them in Mandinka, you think, no, this is explicit, and you hear in another language. There was this day that I came and met Mariam in the studio on the Campabe, and she was singing in Serir. Is it, I think I remember a bit of the line, Timi yo, Timi, is it Timi yo, Timi? Like, I was like, what? Like, I couldn't just comprehend, so I had to stand and then listen to her sing and all of that. Then she was done, she explained what she was actually saying in Serir and all of that. Like, I loved every bit of it.
I was born in a musical family, but like you have a talent, but you're like, can these people accept where your beliefs are when it comes to music, the culture and the classical music that, you know, I loved personally, and it was like, can this and the people accept what I do in different languages? But I was seen by Auntie J through the Rising Stars, and you know, she likes what I do, and I was brought to the choir, and I was inspired more to compose more songs, more and more and more, to research more, and to believe in what I do more.
Who writes the songs? Because these are songs not written by.
No.
This is not written by.
This is a song written by Orchestra Baobab. Was an old orchestra in Senegal. Most of them died. You know, the band is even forgotten now. But I think the song is something that we all could learn something from, that we face day to day, and about mentally ill. Mental illness is something that we face in the society all the time that we show, and we felt like it's a message for us to send out there for people to see the image and to also feel the song. We have songs that we could shoot videos. We have Nongo Dara, we have Yo Lele. We have so many songs because we worked on an album, but they chose. Yeah.
Okay, let's have an acoustic dialogues version of this whole SLA cultural choir. You give us a short a cappella. You know, we know that.
I would love the Miniamba.
Most
We
of
are
the
decided.
choir is not here. You know, the likes of Yafa and Day and all of these people are not here. So
Yeah, most of them are there. The drummers,
stuff like
Ibrahim
drummers and stuff
Kapi.
like so just give us
Day.
an a cappella of what SLA cultural choir actually tastes like. Choose whatever you're comfortable with.
No. Miniamba.
Miniamba sabaye kono lelo. Amolo miniamba sabaye kono lelo. Saba miniamba. Miniamba sabaye kono lelo. Amolo miniamba sabaye kono lelo. Saba miniamba. Miniamba sabaye kono lelo. Sabaye.
Amolo miniamba sabaye kololelo.
Saba miniamba. Miniamba sabaye kono lelo.
Amolo miniamba sabaye kololelo. Saba miniamba.
Yautere salide gachewa ejabugonga sunyu Gambia monyu bole sunyu Gambia bi ñun ñoko mom buñu manti dem mbadi dulo nañu jubo tabandi xulo wa
Miniamba sabaye kololelo.
Amolo miniamba sabaye konolelo. Saba miniamba.
Miniamba sabaye kololelo.
Sabaye.
Amolo miniamba sabaye kololelo. Saba miniamba.
Ambolo. Mbolo moidole. Mbololen. Bolo moy dole moy suñu jami rew
Bolo bolo moy dole
bolo
len bolo moy dole moy suñu jamire
nañu benno nekk benna ayayo suñ ko defee réew mi mën a dem kanam moy suñu jami rew
Miniamba saba miniamba Miniamba sabaye kololelo. Saba miniamba.
This was just explicit. It was good. Rahim, I told you. What did you feel when this song was being sung?
Well,
be honest.
It's a very, very, very inspirational song.
Thank you.
I heard Miniamba means a big snake, right? And it's a song that has been sang for generations. For generations and generations, and it actually has that relevance, has that motivation and inspiring thingy all about it. And what I really liked about it is the way you guys put your own words into the song, the way you put your own lyrics into the song, how it actually relates to modern day Gambia or the modern day sub-regional thingy. But I think it's a very, very good thing that you actually blended it with your own writings.
The wish was for us to have you in the entire day. Like seriously, this song is so good.
We can have one more song.
I'm feeling it, but time. I guess we don't have much time. He has something. Okay, just a small. Winnie, just give us a bit. You can carry on. Okay, so Chef French has already forfeited his time for French for this.
Said
So let's go.
He's giving us the French segment. So give us that, Winnie, please, okay? We're going to finish off with SLA. French, you can guys spell. Bonjour, comment ça va? C'est la pour toi, ça
Thank you.
C'est la, qu'est-ce qu'il y a? C'est la next week.
Ayanga ye me no bay gulok. Ayanga ya me no bay wali gulok.
Ayanga ye me no bay. Ayanga ya me no bay wale
gulok. Ayanga ye me no bay gulok.
Ayanga ya
me no bay wali
gulok. Ayanga ye me no bay. Ayanga ya me no bay wale
gulok. Ayanga ye me no bay
gulok.
Ayanga ya me no bay wali
gulok. Ayanga ye me no bay. Ayanga ya me no bay wale
gulok. Ayanga ya me no bay wali
gulok. Ayanga ya me no bay wale
gulok. Ayanga ya me no bay wali
gulok. Ayanga ya me no bay wale
gulok. Ayanga ya me no bay wale.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. SLA Cultural Choir. Oh my God, they never seem to amaze me. This is just a quarter of the original band. This is just a quarter of the original band. If you want to see SLA Cultural Choir, book them for your events and make sure they come bring the whole orchestra, you know, the whole full-fledged outfits, everything.
And you know, I'm already motivated. We might offer or we might see to call them for our GRTS AM show anniversary, AM show special for you guys to come and entertain us on that particular. Like, I'm already thrilled with, but what thrilled me more was Rahim's dance style. Like, I don't even know how you are moving.
But you have to book them for that. You have to book. GRTS will have to get out money and write a check.
I have already, unofficially, I've already informed you about it. So it's just a matter of informing you again. Auntie J is my auntie, and then Uncle Saps, yes, per se, he's my Saps. Yes. So and I guess that does it. We wrap up the AM show with SLA. For the first time, we're doing this. So
thank you very much for coming. It's an honor to have you here. Wish you the guys the very, very best of luck. Send our best regards to Auntie J. I know she's watching. Auntie J.
Thank you so much, and we love you.
Peace.
And that does it for today's edition of the AM show. A special thanks to our director and producer, Winifred Nicol, to our cameraman in the studio, Musa Sane, our technicians behind the scene, Uncle Salah, and the crew out there. A special thanks to my makeup artist, Betty Berry, for the face pitch. Until we come your way again.
Ayanga yangale.
Special thanks to SLA.
Okay. A special thanks to SLA, Auntie J, and everyone. Yeah. Wow.
And the new member, Lamin Kiliminting.
Yeah, and Serin Gajagatu.
So that's the name, right?
Anyway, it was a wonderful Saturday and a wonderful AM.
See you on Monday on another edition of the AM show.
Until
bye
then,
for now.
Do have a pleasant weekend.
Peace.
From us.
We are out.
You don't matter me.